Hi everyone. So unfortunately the other day an animal rights activist was killed outside of Fearman Slaughterhouse in Burlington, Ontario. And when I first heard of this news, I wasn't terribly surprised. I've attended protests at the slaughterhouse myself and I've uploaded video footage of it to my channel. And this is a particularly dangerous area to protest for a few reasons. For one thing, it's a relatively high traffic area. There's a lot of cars moving through, so you have to make sure you're aware of your surroundings to ensure you don't get mixed up in traffic and get hit by a car. Secondly, I've seen a lot of activists just doing really stupid things around these transport trucks. I've seen activists climbing up on the sides of these trucks, just not paying attention to what the driver is doing. And I've seen some activists, nearly hurt themselves pretty badly, almost get hit just because they weren't paying attention or just plain doing something stupid. And lastly, the truck drivers who enter the slaughterhouse, more than any other slaughterhouse I've protested in front of, they tend to be extremely aggressive, and here's some video footage of that. So when I first heard this news, I didn't really have any information to go on. I didn't know any details. So I had assumed that maybe some young, inexperienced activist attended this protest, did something stupid and dangerous around these transport trucks, which I have seen a lot before. And on top of that, maybe there was an aggressive driver and there's just a perfect storm of events that resulted in an activist unintentionally getting killed. But as I've learned some more information, as I've dug deeper, and I've actually talked to some eyewitnesses who were there, who saw this whole event take place, it seems very likely that this truck driver actually might have murdered this activist. For one thing, the woman, this activist who was killed, her name was Reagan Russell. She's an older woman, she has a lot of experience doing activism, and I just found it very hard to believe that this older, mature woman who has a lot of experience doing activism would do something stupid and dangerous around a transport truck, putting herself in unnecessary danger. And fortunately, there is actually video footage just before the truck hit her showing that she wasn't doing anything dangerous around this truck. In fact, she wasn't anywhere near this truck. She was standing in front of the gate to the slaughterhouse, well in view of the truck driver, yet this truck driver still managed to hit her, which is very bizarre. Again, it makes me think that this might have been intentional. The person who filmed this video also mentioned that he suspected that this truck driver was trying to put these animal rights activists in harm's way, trying to get them to come out into traffic so that they could get hit by a car.
So this trucker just won't come in, so he's forcing us to bear witness in a very, very dangerous place, and he's trying to piss off the other cars. Fucking asshole.
Now, these are very serious allegations being made against the truck driver, and I'm not going to say that I know for sure what this guy was thinking, what his motives were, but I do find it very strange that this guy had a green light. He could have made a right-hand turn, pulled into the slaughterhouse, like you'd expect him to, but instead he chose to just stand in the middle of traffic. It seems as though his intention was to get these animal rights protesters to walk out onto the road where they could possibly be hit by traffic. And on top of that, again, Reagan was nowhere near this truck. She wasn't doing anything dangerous. She was just standing in front of the slaughterhouse gate. And when he pulled up to the gate, he just rammed right into her. And you can see there's an unobstructed view, there's no blind spot, there's no way this guy has any excuse to have not seen her, yet he still hit her. Now, earlier today, there was a special vigil at the slaughterhouse to honor Reagan's death, which I attended, And while I was there, I was able to talk to some of the witnesses who were there, who saw this whole event take place. They wished not to be on camera or be recorded, so I'm just going to repeat what they told me. And according to these eyewitnesses that I spoke to, they saw this truck driver before he hit Reagan. He was staring directly at her. There's no way he didn't see her, and he had this angry, evil, malicious look in his eye, like he intended to hit her. This is according to them, and they also explained to me what took place, and I'll play the clip where I explain this while I was at the slaughterhouse. So I'm over at the vigil for Reagan, and this is the area where she was killed. So what happened was there was an animal transport truck right over there, and Reagan was standing over here, right in front of this gate. Now, what a lot of activists do is they stand here to block the trucks to give other activists more time to give water to the pigs. And what happened was this truck driver was extremely aggressive, just didn't care about this woman's life, rammed straight into her. And he had an unobstructed view of this woman. There was nothing in the way. I find it hard to believe that this guy didn't notice that this woman was standing right in front of the gate. He came in, hit her right about here, and then her body fell underneath the truck and she was dragged. And she was dragged over to where you can see that where the road curves. So basically about a good 15, 20 feet at least. And the only reason the truck driver stopped was because the security guards were screaming at him to stop. And the other day, when she was killed, you could see a trail of blood here. So it was a pretty brutal, gruesome death. And after Reagan was hit, one of the witnesses took a photo of the aftermath, and in this photo you can see a cleanup crew trying to clean up the trail of blood that was left behind. So all of this is very disturbing. Again, these are very serious allegations made against the truck driver, so I'm not going to say for certain that there was any intention for him to commit murder. Maybe this was some kind of crazy freak accident, but it's a little hard for me to believe. There was a clear line of sight that this truck driver had. According to eyewitnesses, he was extremely enraged, angry. He looked like he wanted to attack the activists. According to other eyewitnesses who recorded this event, it looked as though he was intentionally trying to put other activists in danger by getting them to come out onto the road to get hit by cars. So it seems like as though he had some sort of intention to harm these activists. And again, he had a clear line of sight. I don't see what the excuse is for him to just run someone over and drag them across the ground for like 20, 30 feet without noticing. It's all very bizarre. It's very unfortunate as well. I didn't know this woman, Reagan, but apparently she was a really nice, lovely person. And other than that, just be safe when you're doing activism. Make sure you're really well aware of your surroundings, especially when you're dealing with cars, transport trucks, and hopefully this sort of thing doesn't happen again.